Hey, we saw with the hockey team and their issues with COVID. Is that kind of serve as a reminder for your basketball guys? Is that like a good thing and a bad way for them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you're saying, it's a reminder that as we continue, that always has to stay front and center because I think the main, like I've said from the beginning, making sure we always approach it that we got to try to everything that we can do to make sure we play the games. You know, our guys want to play. Uh, they've been doing a pretty good job of, understanding that they want to play, so they got to sort of remain vigilant in these protocols, and I think they've done a good job. And it's not good for Frank and and those guys, obviously, but like you're saying, it's definitely a reminder. And as you keep going along in this, sometimes you can let your guard down, and obviously that's something we got to make sure we don't do here. And sometimes those things just this thing is so prevalent. There's really might not be anything you can do to stop it, but in certain situations. But we got to make sure whether we're on the road, whether we're here, we're always mindful of that, and we're going to make sure that we keep doing that.
And then the follow up I have is because of all the obstacles you guys have had this year, and you don't see it. I see it with a lot of coaches. It seems like there's a certain self restraint that you have to have during games because you haven't had as much time as you would like with your players. Do you find yourself at time maybe there's a situation in the game where you're frustrated, but you remind yourself, hey, we haven't been on the court enough, we haven't been together enough to execute what I have envisioned?
Yeah, I definitely think that's true, Rob. And I think for me, it's like a double. It's like a double reminder for me in that, this is our first year. This is our guys. Exactly what you just said is true times whatever the number is because, it's all new for our guys. It's all whatever I'm asking them to do, which they've done a good job of. It's not like it's their habit. They've been doing it for 2-3 years. It's not their habit. So we do see some, you see us, whether it's backsliding a little bit at certain times, even within the course of a game to game. So I think it's been good for me because I've working hard to make sure I'm doing that, having that kind of, I don't know if the word's patience, or self-restraint to you. I think you were using self-restraint just for me, you know what I mean, Rob? I understand. But but I'm using the word patience. Patience, I think it cuts, it's been helpful. And I got to make sure, again, as we keep going, to your prior question, that I stay that way. I did say that to one of the TV people last week. Like, that's my, he asked what my New Year's resolution was, and I basically said that no matter what, as we keep going through this, to show the understanding of the situation, whether that's a gratefulness, to be able to be in the position we're in, whether that's patience because of the the outlying circumstances, and I'm mindful of that all the time, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job, but I got to make sure I keep doing that, and hopefully that'll help our players grow as we get through, go through the last couple months of the season.
Yeah, are there any updates on Abe Kinray's condition?
Yeah, he's he's not 100%, but he's been back practicing, which is a good sign. I think for him, it's just not like a comfort level in terms of pushing off, going full speed, going full strength, just getting used to that knee. So we still have a couple more days, but I'm counting on him being able to play and being able to help us this weekend.
Okay, and with Wyoming, obviously they've been kind of the early surprise in the conference, I would say. When you look at them, what has allowed them to take that leap?
Well, I think, they have a new coach, so they're playing in a completely different way. They have guys there who have been playing. Maldonado's been there. I think the main thing is they really can shoot the ball. So it's not they're not as big per se maybe as some of the other teams that I know they're not as big as the teams we faced so far, the three we've played. So they're a little bit more perimeter oriented. Maldonado and Williams throw their passes and score for them, but they also are their facilitators and playmakers too. So the other guys get their 3-point shots off of them. So they are going to be a different sort of preparation and challenge than what we've seen in these first 6 playing Nevada, Utah State, and Boise State. I think the other thing is there's a lot of familiarity there with Jeff and a lot of guys on their roster from Colorado. So I think there's always a rivalry. I think Air Force Wyoming, and I think in this instance here, you throw all those Colorado guys, and Jeff being the past few years and 4 or 5 years in northern Colorado, I think we got to. This is going to be, like all games, intense, and we have to make sure that we're prepared for that.
It seems like in your last few losses, which were obviously against good teams, they've been able to go on runs, which, happens in basketball, but it seems like once they go on those runs, it kind of puts the game out of reach. So what do you think causes those, and, how do you minimize that from happening?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's happened. I think, again, I think on Saturday, it was Friday. I think Friday we did minimize it. We had a bad 4 or 5 minutes. They're a good team. To your point, they played well. We got it back to 56-54. We got it back to 63-62. So they had their big run, and they're at home. And like you said, that is what occurs. We have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. That's the main answer to your question would be we have to get better at taking care of the ball. We have to get better at aiding their runs. That they're going to go on their runs if they're a good team. We have to do a better job of not helping it. It's been something we're stressing, and if we can get better in that area, right now our guys, it seems as though we turn it over, it's live ball, it's 3 points the other way immediately. There's no questions asked about that. So we got to grow up that way. Like I said, I thought we rebounded well from it the other night, but the problem was it was too large of a run for them to start. So, and we aided it. We had 6 turnovers in the first 6 minutes of the second half when we only had 5 the entire first half. Then we only had 1 the rest of the game. So from that point on, with 12 to go, we only had 1 turnover the rest of the game. So I think right there, that shows what we have to do to better control the extent of their runs, limit their runs, and then learn how to really make our runs, which we have, be more valuable to us.
And you mentioned the turnovers. Are the turnovers just maybe because the guys are still getting used to, this new season, or are they just mistakes that they shouldn't be committing?
I think it's, one, you're playing good teams, and why good teams are good teams is, they're not going to let you do what you want to do. And they're good at that. And we're trying to be the same way, and I think our guys are going through the first 6 games of just learning, all right, well, this is what it is. It's called execution. We got to get better at our execution. We got to stay with it because that's what you have to do against good teams. And I think our ability to do that and sustain that for, whether it's a first full 20 minutes, then a second full 20 minutes, whether that's in the time of the game when, for whatever the reason is, that they're ramped up. Just pick the beginning of the second half. Well, Boise State's down 7. They're at home. They're in first place in the league. They're coming out, and they're going to be ramped up, and they're going to be the intensity level of the game is going to rise, and our ability right now to know that, withstand that. We're getting that experience right now of what's required to do those things, and I'm hopeful this schedule that we started with is going to be the best teacher for what we're trying to get our guys to understand right now, which is no matter what, take care of that ball. When we do, something good happens for us, and we just have to get better at being able to do it for longer stretches and being able to limit it at the times when, maybe we're not doing it. Cut it down to two bad possessions instead of 4 or 5.
I'm sure you want to keep talking about turnovers, but I do have a question about that. When you evaluate them, obviously not all turnovers are created equal, because the way you pass inside, some of that's going to happen. How do you keep the guys making those aggressive passes while you're also trying to limit the turnover?
Yeah, I think the main thing, again, is you're right on point. is I want our guys to make sure that they stay aggressive and, seeing those things and throwing those passes. At the same time, I think the main thing is the first part, which is seeing it, seeing that, nope, it's not there. Seeing it, maybe if it was a different time in the game or a different circumstance, I'm not taking that shot now, throwing that pass. I'm going to make sure I'm a little more conservative. There comes times when, being conservative is the smart play, like hit singles. I think our guys have to get good at knowing the more singles we hit, the more when we hit that home run, it's gonna mean more, and I think that's really, again, it's learned behavior because of what you're saying is we're cutting, we want to throw those passes, but their understanding of time score, the other teams, just went on a 4-0 run. We got to make sure that no matter what, we get a shot this possession. The other ones along those lines that I know you can correct is we have some unforced ones, we have ones where we just change our pivot foot or something along those lines. We're inbounding the ball and we don't throw the ball. There are ones that we can definitely eliminate, and we're at a stage where, like I've said to our team, in all these areas, we eliminate 3 to 4 turnovers a game. We get 2 more offensive possessions by getting 2 more offensive rebounds a game. And then we limit their offensive rebounding to 2 more, just 2. They get 2 less offensive rebounds. We get 2 more. We take away 3 to 4 of our turnovers. That's huge for us right there. That's 8 possessions, 9 possessions. I think our guys are learning that. They're understanding now, the ramifications, the consequences on both sides. It can be such a positive if we do it this way, and they've seen what the negatives are, and I think they've seen the positives. So it's no longer me saying it, it's the games are telling our guys that, and hopefully that experience is going to, show, especially against these good teams we played early, it's going to show as we keep going through the league.
So within that context, is it more complicated to bring along a freshman like Glenn McClintock because there's probably more tentativeness on his side to not make that aggressive pass, and a freshman doesn't want to turn the ball over? So is it harder to allow them that freedom or to let them trust that they have that freedom to operate the way you want to operate?
Yeah, I think the main thing is taking Glenn, for example, just using his experience. Glenn has probably played similarly to our entire team. If you look at how we've played, we play sort of one not so good game, one pretty good game, one not so good game, one not pretty good. And if you look at Glenn, that's been his experience. I think that's a youthful player, and it doesn't matter. Some seniors haven't played much. Well, guess what? That senior's going through the same experience. Where does consistency come from? And it comes from playing and learning those things. And Glenn hasn't played a lot, but like I said to you before, I think guys move along at their own pace. Freshmen become sophomores within one season. There are sophomores that play like seniors, and there are seniors that play like freshmen. So they're all just ages. None of it. It all comes down to that individual. So in Glenn's case, he played really well on Friday. I know he's capable of playing well. So, I just have to keep coaching him in a way where what you said, Glenn, you got to keep being aggressive. You got to know you're a good player. Doesn't matter who we're playing. You're a good basketball player, and you got to do the things that good basketball players do. And good basketball players don't turn the ball over. They understand the value of that. They shoot a good shooting percentage because they take good shots, and they measure themselves on that. If I'm not shooting 48% from the field, then I'm looking at myself to say I got to do a better job. And then good players rebound the ball. I mean, you can gauge how you're doing in those 3 areas. And I think if our guys learn that and everybody's doing those things together, then that's how you become a good player and you become consistent. And we're obviously on that continuum somewhere here. We're trying to find when are we going to get to that consistency, and it's everybody's job to get themselves to it, and it's our job as coaches to help get them to that position.
You mentioned Hunter Maldonado. I was curious, what do you see from his game, and where would you rate him as far as players in the Mountain West?
You know, I have to see more of him, Rob, but I think what I think impresses me the most is, like I said earlier, he's a very good passer. You know, he leads their team in assists, so you can go into a game thinking, hey, that guy can score, he can do this and that. The main thing I think he does is he makes the guys on his teammates better. He throws them, the ball at the right time. He's I don't know, I think he's 57 assists and, whatever. His assist to turnover ratio is very good. So, we got to make sure that he's not helping others, in our game planning. And if we can do that, then I think you make him into a scorer, which he can do, but then maybe everybody else isn't scoring. So probably easier said than done. He's got a lot of experience. He's played a lot. I know that's going to be a big challenge for us.